Welcome back. It's Tim and Julie Harris, and this is, of course, your favorite daily real estate coaching and training podcast. Great feedback on this topic, and you're going to love the fact that this is day two, and the topic is $1 Million Momentum, the real estate agent's path to predictable profit. Now, we did go through points or lessons 1 through 3 yesterday. If you have not yet subscribed to our newsletter, you want to do so right away so you can get all of Julie's notes. That's the only place we publish our notes. Just go to harrisrealestatedaily.com or click the link below. And again, it's our free newsletter. And I've got great news. We're going to be expanding that newsletter. We're going to be expanding the newsletter to include a private community just for newsletter subscribers. And we're going to have more information about that coming soon, but it's something we're hoping to have launched in the next 30 days. And this is not going to be publicly available. It's just a place where all of our newsletter subscribers can go and maybe exchange referrals, just get to know each other, all that good stuff. So if you want to be on the list, if you want to be included, if you want to get the newsletter, it's all free. No reason not to do it. Just go to harrisrealestatedaily.com or click the link below. All right, Julie Harris, let's roll right in. And we are on lesson number 3.
That's right. So again, we're talking about $1 Million Momentum, the real estate agent's path to predictable profit. And we're starting on lesson number 3 because yesterday we had such big mindset lessons. We had to get started somewhere. So number 3, there's a lot to it. And number 3 is called Master the 4 Core Tools. Before you spend on leads or ads, which if you're honest, you may never have to do, you've got to invest your time mastering these key essentials. The first one is your scripts. Your words are your weapons. That's one way to look at it. Excuse me, or your tools. Learn proactive lead generation, lead follow-up, how to hold a successful open house. We teach all of this, of course, in Premier Coaching. And pre-qualifying, closing scripts, negotiating, all of the presentation stuff. You do have to use scripts. And I know people get weird about scripts sometimes, but we have to remind them to, maybe you can talk about this a little bit. I understand why people are weird about scripts. They feel sometimes it's not their words, like it wasn't organically generated out of their
Can I give
soul.
you my honest thought on what you're wanting me to do?
Yeah.
I'm not
Sure.
going to placate them anymore. If they're not using scripts, they're not serious about being successful in real estate.
Well, that's true, but keeping it real, some of them are weird about it. So what we
Well,
say is memorize, internalize, and personalize, and then it'll feel like it's your script.
right. But if you have a resistance to saying something that you know is going to work, and for some reason you just don't want to say it because your ego is saying, well, you weren't the originator of those those words, the string of words.
That's
And
an
that's
ego.
and that's, you're just not serious about being successful in real estate. Anybody who's successful anything, the best way for them to go about doing it is follow in the footsteps of people that have done it before. And why you'd waste time trying to figure out and hone your own scripts. But we do want you to, as Julie said, the first thing is to memorize the scripts and then internalize the scripts and then personalize the scripts. And if you've been struggling in real estate, or if you're still stuck in the quagmire of buying buyer leads, it's because you haven't really accepted the fact that every single professional on planet Earth uses scripts. It doesn't matter if you're an actor. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor. It doesn't matter if you're whatever you do. You're actually saying what other people taught you to say. But as you progress in your career, you get to the level where you're consciously competent. You no longer have to think about what you're going to say because you've made those scripts part of who you are, and you won't even remember where you learned them. And that's the magic. But you're never going to experience that easy flowing of information, that seemingly endless amount of people that you can easily communicate with about buying or selling real estate, unless you actually do the first thing, which is memorizing the scripts. So, that's really important. And in our Premier Coaching program, in all of our coaching programs, we give you all the scripts. A script is nothing other than just basically a conversation outline that's designed to help the buyer or the seller reach the conclusion that they want to work with you. Or there's scripts for price reductions, or there's scripts for getting contracts signed, or there's scripts for, all the things. We have them
But they're
all
questions. They're really you drilling down, getting to the bottom of how you can be of service to somebody. That's all it is.
That's right.
It's just simplifying it, questions that lead to being able to either close or decide not to close if it's not your cup of tea, or they're not ready or don't need your help.
Why would you risk the opportunity to help somebody and make money by not having actually in front of you the right words to say to somebody? And like I said, there's a lot of agents, I would say a vast majority of agents out there, that aren't resonating at all with what I'm saying, because they're going to say, well, I'll know what to say, and I'll, somehow pull it out of the ether, and somehow I'm going to just weave together some, pixie dust, and whatever's going to come out of my mouth is going to be, until it doesn't. right? You can get away with not being professional or frankly not being very scripted if all you're doing, if first of all, you're dealing with a lot of first-time buyers or just dealing with people that are primarily centers of influence and past clients. You will do some transactions as a result of that because you are very familiar with them, or frankly, first-time buyers aren't going to be that particular. I mean, you got to help them, but they're not going to know whether or not you're a professional
They
because
don't know they don't know what to ask in the same way as a repeat seller might.
right. And the first time buyers have never transacted before, to Julie's point, so they won't have any basis of comparison. Unless, of course, they're also talking with another agent about helping them buy a house, because that is what's happening now. Exclusive buyer agency contracts are the thing now, just like exclusive listing contracts are. And if that other agent is one of our premier coaching clients and they're using one of our scripts and they're using the buyer presentation and they're using the buyer pre-qualification script and they're using the whole buyer system that we put together as part of premier coaching, well, guess what? They're going to choose the other agent and not you, because of the fact that you didn't take, like, not using scripts and not using a formalized presentation, not using our formalized approach is, in essence, this sounds a little bold, but it's true. It's malpractice. And even worse, well, maybe not worse, but it's being disrespectful to that buyer or that seller because you didn't take the time to learn how to be a professional. And don't you deserve to work with a professional?
Well, it's very presumptive to act that way, isn't it? That they're going to work with you because of who you are or because of your relationship or because you golf together. So that is a form of being disrespectful. So I would actually agree with you that it's a form of malpractice, even though that sounds a little bit tough. I do think that's true. And related to that, the next thing, remember we're on lesson 3, master the 4 core, CORE tools. First one we talked about was scripts. The next one is a pre-listing package, not your brokers that everybody else in your brokerage uses, not something you found for free online, not some collection of stuff that you grab at your office every now and then when you think that you've got to send something ahead of time, but your proven personalized package, which of course we give you in Premier Coaching. That's a big part of why people sign up for Premier Coaching.
Well, this is all included in Premier Coaching. And so the easy button for you guys to do now is join Premier Coaching. Click the link below and you get instant access to Premier Coaching. You get the first 30 days for free. There are no contracts. There's no gotchas, there's no surprises. Just join Premier Coaching, and we give you a lot of the scripts and the systems to get you started in your real estate business. Whether you're a seasoned, and this is mostly what we're attracting nowadays, especially to elite coaching, the higher end programs, are people that have been in the business for a long time, people that have been listening to the podcast and know that and are seeing evidence of the fact that their market's going to start changing for the better, and they want to be prepared so they can make the most of this new real estate boom, which we're definitely on, basically about to start all experiencing in varying degrees around the country. If you're in Austin, or if you're in Miami and there's a lot of the inventory, it's not going to necessarily feel like it does, say, for example, if you're in Columbus, Ohio, things like that. But the reality of it is the wind is definitely at our backs. And you've got to be right now, before you get super busy with opportunity, get your systems together, get your lead generation together, get obviously your scripts together, your pre-listing pack, your buyer presentation, your seller presentation. All those things are waiting for you at Premier Coaching. So click the link below or just go to premiercoaching.com. And lesson 4, Julie, don't be a secret agent.
Okay, so they can get the next 2 of the 4 core tools from the newsletter. We'll skip those and go on ahead to lesson 4. Don't be a secret agent. This is a contact sport, not a waiting game. Though we know you have lucked out occasionally where a lead will fall in your lap, that is not a plan. So when we say don't be a secret agent, get comfortable talking about real estate to everyone, everywhere, all the time. We teach you how to deploy your Ford script. That's family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. That is one of the easiest scripts and one of the most organic, super simple ways to create some leads for yourself. But your connection has to happen more face-to-face, voice-to-voice, even sometimes video to audience, but mostly face-to-face. Of the coaching clients I've talked to this week, Tim, I think you would agree with this with yours as well. The appointments they're setting are face-to-face. The leads that they're getting are voice-to-voice.
Well, Julie, let's talk more about this on the show we're doing tomorrow about Sora 2.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because here's really, and this is something that, I don't like saying this because it sounds braggadocious, and Julie and I are definitely not braggadocious, but what's happening is now with video, what's happening with social media, what's happening with Instagram and YouTube and all these things is exactly what we told you guys was going to happen, 2 years ago? And then when we saw the AI models really start to evolve faster than anyone predicted, we told you guys, and we said it would happen by the end of this year, didn't we? Yes, we did. That you're going to be able to speak directly to AI and you're going to you're going to tell AI, and you don't have to be a fancy, you don't have to be some sort of prompt wizard. You're going to tell it what you want it to do. It's going to write the script. It's going to make the video. It's going to basically do something that looks like you had spent hours and hours and hours trying to edit it. So all of you guys who've been listening to these fake gurus who've been telling you how to become an influencer in video, all that stuff is about to become ubiquitous, meaning that everybody and their brother is going to have it. If you don't believe me, go to YouTube and watch the videos on Sora 2. It's not everyone can have access to it yet. We have limited access to it, but I was playing around with it and I cannot believe how absolutely badass it is. I'll give you an example. You basically, just like Julie and I predicted, you're going to put your phone in front of you. It's going to scan your body. It's going to listen to your voice. This is Sora 2. This is not some app that somebody developed. Well, it is. It's OpenAI. And then you're literally going to see a picture of yourself, and you're going to see the virtual version of you. And then you're going to tell it to make, for example, a video about the highlights of living in Worthington, Ohio. It's then going to go out and research all the highlights. It's then going to have create a script. It's then going to use the virtual version of you, then to obviously create a highlights reel, maybe the top 5 things about Worthington, Ohio. It's going to go out online. It's going to find out that, Old Worthington is one of the highlights of Worthington, Ohio. It's going to create an AI version, which is an indistinguishable from real video version of Old Worthington and you walking down the street talking about Grader's ice cream. It is bonkers. The technology is here. Everybody and their brother with a real estate license is going to be pounding out social media content, and you will as well. And we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. But the point is, when everybody is a social media influencer, which they're going to be in a matter of weeks at this point.
Easily. Inexpensively. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, free, Julie. Sora 2 is free.
Sure.
So how do you go about differentiating yourself in the marketplace? If everybody basically has what you thought was going to make you unique in the marketplace, and Instagram just changed their algorithm, YouTube's going to change their algorithm, all these. So if all of that stuff is now the same, how are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to make it so that you are standing above, or you are the person that people are naturally going to choose? The only answer is because you radiate your professionalism, because they can tell by listening to you and talking to you that you're different. Because the problem that the social media types have is that they have underestimated, because they've been listening to fake coaches, the importance of actually being a scripted professional. And because they thought at the end of the day, the masses of social media was going to win the game. And you will notice immediately, I am not pulling punches, and neither is Julie, because we do not want you to needlessly suffer being victims of more of these snake oil salesmen, which are telling you you're going to win the game just by creating this, confluence and this momentous amount of social media content, because everybody is going to do it. It's going to be everywhere. And so how is someone going to choose you over somebody else? Not your likes or your follows, not the quality of your video content. It's their direct interaction with the real you, right? Now, do we think you should be creating all that stuff? Heck yeah, why not? It's fun, it's easy, it's going to be free. So go ahead and absolutely pile all that stuff on, but you've got to get really freaking honed in on your ability to have meaningful conversations with buyers or sellers, because your competitors won't have that skill set, because nobody is telling them that the turn in the road has already been made, because the AI is going to make all that stuff ubiquitous. Everyone's going to have it, like I said. Nobody is telling them you now need to go and learn your skills, which you should have learned in the first place, because the coaches and trainers that have been doing the social media training don't know how to teach skills. Remember what I'm telling you that, because at the end of this year, going to next year, you're really going to see our predictions playing out. And Sora 2 is the first of many AI voice to video models that are going to completely and totally change virtually everything about marketing and advertising and branding. It's going to be unbelievable. I'm telling you guys, go to YouTube and play around with it.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show talking about it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Meanwhile, back on this podcast, $1 million momentum. We're talking about making millions of dollars in real estate. We have lesson number 5, follow an actual business plan, not just hopium. Failing to plan is planning to fail. That's a famous quote. Use your real estate treasure map, of course, part of coaching, and you will discover your goals in 5 areas of life. This is your personalized personal and business plan. You're going to know about your lead sources. We're not going to go into great gritty detail on this because you can get your treasure map as part of coaching. You're going to know your magic number, how many listings you personally have to maintain to meet or exceed your monthly income goal. And of course, your ideal schedule that will support you on all of those goals. So that is all in your business plan. Lesson number 5 is follow an actual plan. Now, some of you have a plan. You did it with your broker. Some of you even have the treasure map. But are you following the plan? A lot of people will just, they'll do the exercise. But remember, one of the reasons that the schedule is towards the end is so that you can follow what your plan actually is.
And the real estate treasure map, which is your fill in the blank business plan, is in level 1 of Premier Coaching, which you can join for free. So just go to premiercoaching.com or click the link below. Julie, I'll do a lesson 6. You get ready for lesson 7. Lesson 6 is to define your unique value. Now, I'm gonna just give you guys the bottom line on this. And when you're trying to differentiate yourself in the marketplace, you're going to have some unique selling propositions. You're going to ultimately, when you go past your centers of influence and past clients, the people that will probably do business with you, you're going to have things that make it so that you're special, that you stand out. And I know a lot of you have been thinking it's social, but it's not going to be. So you're going to have to really drill down on what matters most to customers. I'm going to tell you guys right now something I've been working on with my elite coaching clients. And this is something that Julie and I did when we sold real estate. It's some form of a cash offer or a guaranteed home sale program. I don't know how else to say it other than that. The market has absolutely made it clear that what sellers want is a fast, hassle-free sale. Now, if you use that as a USP, a unique selling proposition, and Julie and I have that in our pre-listing pack, which you get as part of Premier Coaching. And if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, a pre-listing pack is something you send to a seller ahead of time prior to the listing appointment, which basically does all the heavy lifting for you. You never want to go to the seller's house, frankly, with having anything to sell. The pre-listing pack is going to have done all the selling for you, explaining to the seller what your USPs are. And I'm going to tell you guys something that Julie and I promised when we hit the hard reset on Premier Coaching earlier this year. We are going to use Sora 2, frankly, and we are going to make it so that all of you can have virtual versions of you that are going to be able to present each of the pages of the pre-listing pack using Julie and I's scripts. So in other words, someone's going to get the pre-listing pack, they're going to go to your unique link, and then they're going to watch you explaining your guaranteed home sale, watch you explaining the communications guarantee. In other words, the seller is going to hear your entire listing presentation and you presenting it prior to you getting there. You see what we're doing here for you? We're not just thinking of how to make yourself unique. We're going to make it so the virtual version of you is now doing the selling so that when you go to the seller's house, you'll already know what the seller thinks the house is worth. You'll already know basically what their time frame is. They'll have already decided that they like your marketing plan and your communications guarantee and all the things. So your whole listing presentation might be 20 minutes. That's it. The listing presentations where you guys are just showing up, not knowing anything, not knowing any of the answers to what their motivation is, all the thing. Winging it. You're bringing stress into that seller's house, which they do not want. And if you're competing with one of our highly trained coaching clients and they sent the pre-listing pack, they've done the virtual AI version of the presentation prior to getting there and all of that, those sellers are going to want to list with our clients because we or they have removed all the stress that you, because you are winging it, that you're bringing into the house. Knock, knock, knock. Now they're going to have to deal with, what if I don't like Bob? What does Bob's thinking my house is worth? Am I going to have to arm wrestle with Bob over commission? All these things. Bob's bringing stress into the house, which the seller doesn't want. A Tim and Julie coaching client is not. Again, open your mind. You've got to seize this opportunity before the market gets super hot over, frankly, the next probably 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 months. It's
already happening in some markets, we know for sure.
Yep. So let's, again, join Premier Coaching. And if you don't like Premier Coaching, it's 13 levels over 13 months. If you want to skip the line and you want access to all the levels right away, become a Premier Coaching VIP client. Oh, and existing Premier Coaching clients, which thousands of you are, I got great news. We're about to move from our existing daily semi-private coaching private Facebook group page. We're going to be moving it over to a webinar format so that there's going to be a lot more interaction and a lot more fun. So look forward to that. I think the launch on that is the 20th of this month. So that's exciting. So many upgrades we're doing because we know that the market's going to take off. We want to meet you guys where you're at so we can help you make the most of the market. All right, Julie, point number
Well, lesson number
Love it.
7 is get into momentum as quickly as possible and stay there. We talked a lot about that yesterday. Don't get stuck in getting ready to get started mode. Some of you have been there for decades. You got to stop that. So get into momentum and stay there. That means doing the things that make you money in real estate. Drill down, and as you would say, Tim, do the real work of real estate. Generate the leads, pre-qualify, present, negotiate, close, lather, rinse, repeat. Lesson number 8 is related to that. Assuming that you're doing number 7, lesson number 8 is to track everything. I don't know about you, Tim, but I haven't known a single $1 million making plus, even $500,000 plus coaching client or colleague who has gotten to that point without tracking their numbers, usually with the visual accountability, the whiteboard system that we teach in Premier Coaching. Because at a certain point, you cannot expect yourself to keep all of that in your head and not screw stuff up. It's the best accountability ever. I love it when coaching clients send that ahead of time. I can tell exactly what they've done since the last call. They know exactly what they need to be doing. It's a brilliant way of tracking things. So lesson number 8 is simply track everything. We don't need to drill down on that because we do that in coaching.
Again, right. But I mean, Julie, in the first level of Premier Coaching, we give them the
That's right. It is in the first level. Yep.
Yep, it is. And so when you guys join Premier Coaching, go to the section and the real estate treasure map about whiteboards, because that's we love it. CRMs, our businesses use CRMs, blah, blah, blah. But nothing will help you to be more accountable to your results more than having the numbers and all the facts in front of you on dry erase boards in your office environment. I know it sounds very old fashioned, but the truth is our brains are designed to work around what we can see. And if something's buried behind a CRM of any variety, you're not going to see it. And some of you think that the way to be successful in this business is essentially by having a CRM full of with a bunch of automated bots that are doing all the heavy lifting for you. Listen to what I'm saying. That is not how you're going to be successful in this new market. You're going to be successful because you're going to learn how to proactively generate a lot of leads. You're going to be able to then know how to essentially pre-qualify those leads as quick as possible, pull out the ones that are actually going to be transactional, and then you're going to use the technology to make it so that you can focus on having direct, personal, voice-to-voice, belly-to-belly conversations with decision-making adults. Let all of the competitors, your competitors, bury themselves behind screens, bury themselves behind CRMs, bury themselves behind having real communication with any prospective buyers or sellers. Let them, frankly, hide out. You go out and you actually get the business done. All right, Julie, let's go to lesson number 9. Be relentless in the fundamentals.
That's right. Now, we talked about what makes you money in real estate, the real work of real estate in previous points, but here's what this one is about. You've got to do that even while you are busy. This is the quintessential top producer challenge. You get busy. What's the first thing you stop doing? Lead generating. Well, probably the first thing is you stop even following up on the leads you've already got. Then you stop generating because you're overwhelmed. You're busy, busy, busy. It's only the agents that really can do both at the same time that are going to make all of the money. And that is the challenge, right? Because that's the last thing you feel like doing when you're negotiating something, when you're doing price reductions, whatever. You've got to keep on lead generating and be very relentless about that. That might mean, something as simple as having an hour of power every single day where it's the only thing that you do during that hour of power is your lead generation. Lesson number 10, related to that, building your spokes in the wheel and not having just one lead source. You're not going to make lots of money, decent income, and on up if you're only dependent on what most of you are dependent on, if we're being honest, and that is past clients and centers of influence and lucking into repeats.
Did you hear that noise a second ago?
What was that?
I have no idea. Maybe thunder.
I think there's a storm out there.
Hey, we have to remind everyone that we're in Puerto Rico. Julie and I are from Columbus, Ohio, Worthington, Ohio, actually, and we're not used to extreme weather. And
that's why we say, "What's that sound?" all the time.
That's right, because it still surprises us that there could be, massive storms because we're on an island, and the weather when it comes over, it can be off the coast, is extraordinary.
Yes. Sometimes only for 10 minutes and then it's sunny again.
And we have huge waves here today.
Huge.
It's
very
anyway.
cool.
Yeah. So when we hear weird noises, it's because even after living here for almost 7 years, we're still not used to it.
Yes, right. All right, and our Ohio brains say, was that hail? And then we're like, no, it can't hail here. It must have been something else.
Or did somebody's, corn combine break? All right.
You know what? It was probably a coconut hitting the roof. But anyway, okay.
That's probably what it was. All right. Lesson 11. Be listings focused. That is the most important thing of all of these points. And I'll say something that's been around forever, but it is so true. If you want to last in real estate, learn how to be a listing agent. If you want to never have to hassle with buying buyer leads, learn how to be a listing agent. If you want to have leverage, okay, think about this. Is there a single one of you listening, watching right now who would choose to have 20 buyers, 20 buyers, or 5 listings where all of them are going to sell, right? So let's say you're in a marketplace, the average sale price is 500 grand. And every time one sells, let's say you're going to make 15 grand. I don't know what your commission is, just throwing out numbers. Would you rather have those 5 listings? Or would you rather have those 20 buyers? Now, the inexperienced amongst you will say, I would rather have the 20 buyers. No, you wouldn't, because here's the thing. When you have 5 listings, you're having the entire board of realtors basically out there selling those listings for you. You don't have to be giving up your nights and your weekends and missing Sally's ballet practice and missing the barbecue on Sunday and doing all these other things. Your 5 listings, when you have those, that creates leverage because the market, the other agents are going to be out there trying to sell them for you. And that's all that's minimum effort on your part, just getting the listings. Now, if you have 5 listings, and I don't even care if you're in a slow market, and every time one sells, you make 15 grand. How many of the 5 listings, your new business model is just going to have 5 listings at all times? That's it. Not a bunch of fancy branding, not a bunch of fancy marketing, not a bunch of fancy moving trucks, not a bunch of fancy billboards, 5 listings at all times. That's your entire business model. Bob's business model is Bob's 5 listings. Those two things are synonymous. So in Bob's market, let's say he's in Austin and things aren't selling that fast. But on average, Bob will do at least 1 transaction per month off those 5 listings because at least one of those listings will sell on average per month, assuming price, condition, location are all in alignment with the market's expectations. That means old Bob is cranking out 15 grand a month, $180,000 a year just by having 5 listings at all times.
Just by concentrating on that particular thing that he does have control of, assuming that he's using scripts, is using a real presentation, knows how to follow up, tracks everything as we teach in Premier. It's keeping it really simple, right? I mean, think about it. All the things that you guys think are out of control all the time in your real estate lives. Listen to what Tim just said.
But Jules, they are.
5 actives equals 180 grand a year minimum, and that's based on that average sale price. What?
Jules, they are out of control. Truthfully, you can't control the interest rates. You can't control the market. You can't control politics. You can't control the Instagram algorithm. You can't control what AI is going to do. You can't control what any of the things. What can you actually control? You can control your activities, your proactive lead generation activities about being a powerful listing agent and building up to your magic number of listings. In the case of Bob, it's 5 listings at all times. In the case of Lance and Kenmore out in Kennewick, Washington, where their average sale price is less than 300 grand, they want, in order to accomplish their financial goals, 50 listings at all times. Right. When Jules and I sold real estate, it was around 30 listings at all times. This was, not yesterday. And if you're in a market where your average sale price is $1 million, and you're making 30,000 or 20,000 every time something sells, and you need, $20,000 to meet or exceed all your financial obligations every single month, then you have 5 listings at all times, one sells, you're making $240,000 a year. The question I always have when Julie and I talk about this virtually at meetings or in live events, why do you want it to be more complicated than what I just said? Why? Why is it that you guys want it to be more complicated? Why do you think you have to do all these other things? All those other things are mental and emotional distractions that you're intentionally putting in place, and you're looking for people to reinforce those mental and emotional distractions so you don't actually have to learn how to be a listing agent because you don't want to learn how to be proactive lead generator because you don't want to do the real work of real estate. I'm being brutal with you, but I'm also being honest because I just gave you the business model. Maybe you want to make $1 million a year, which was the premise of this podcast. In your marketplace, if you had 15 listings at all times and your average commission is $12,000, if you had 15 listings at all times, most likely you're going to have probably, let's say your average commission is 15,000. So I can do the math easier in my head. And let's say you want to make $1 million per year. And let's say your average days in the market is 90 days. Let me do the math in my head. You would probably need 25 listings, I think, probably, if the market was selling 5.
You'd have to be selling 5.5 per month.
There you go. I did it in my head. So you'd have to, basically, that would be your magic number. If your average commit in most of the market, in most of the country where the market's basically 90 days on the market, you would need about 20 to 25 listings if the average commission was 15 grand. And on average, 5 of those would sell per month. And then you'd make $100 million per year.
Well, we know this because our coaching clients, especially our elite clients, are doing like almost exactly what you just described. I mean, I
Yep.
can name them who do have typically most of them have 15 to 20, maybe 22 active listings,
Right.
and they're consistently closing 5 to 6 of them per month. They're excuse me, referring their buyer sides off unless they're listings with them, and they're
Oh,
living that
stop
life.
there. Stop
Yeah.
there. So if you
Mhm.
don't want to work buyers anymore, you can refer those buyers off to other agents in your marketplace. And we already know agents will pay 30 to 40% referral fee.
Yep.
So if you get a buyer that shows up in your life and they don't have a house to sell, they're just a straight up buyer, refer that buyer off if you don't want to work them anymore. If you're at eXp Realty, hopefully you're thinking about what I'm saying. And if you want to build your revenue share group, here's an idea. Focus on being a powerful listing agent, setting aside all this other distraction stuff. Just focus on becoming a listing agent. If you only get one thing from the tens of thousands of podcasts that Julie and I have done, it's that be a listing agent. Because if you're at eXp Realty and you had 15 listings at all times and you use systems like 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com, don't spend a lot of money, but you're going to get a lot of buyer leads. And those buyer leads, if you don't want to work them, you got to run them through a filter. You pre-qualify, ideally, you personally are pre-qualifying all of them. Um, Frankly, I just have had a lot of coaching clients that have had bad experiences when they try to hire a VA to pre-qualify their leads. No one's ever
Mhm.
going to do it as well
Right.
as you are. Use our scripts. You then will create a lot of buyer leads, straight up buyer leads, people with no houses to sell. Maybe some of them you want to work, most of them you won't. Then go and hire agents to work as part of your group, your team, and then just refer those leads off to those agents. You will then be able to create with 15 listings at all times, probably realistically using 800 home hotline and services like that, which are very cheap. You're going to be able to create probably 40 to 50 buyer leads per month if you follow our coaching, signs, open houses, things like that, easily 40 to 50. You refer all those out to those buyer agents. Those buyer agents, to get your leads, are going to have to be part of your eXp revenue share group, and they're going to have to be sponsored by you at eXp Realty. Now you're making money when they sell a house off the referral fee. You're making money when they sell a house off the revenue share. You guys get it? So if you want the most foolproof plan to build a revenue share group at eXp Realty, which, Julie and I have been with eXp now since 2019. We have 31 or 3,200 agents that are with us at eXp Realty. If you're looking for the formula to form a downline, I just gave it to you.
Mhm.
Why are you making it more complicated than that? Become a listing agent. Everything you want in this life as a real estate professional is on the other side of you being a listing agent. Oh, and by the way, if you're ready to move up in your career and join us at eXp Realty, there's a link below to learn more about our eXp Realty group and why literally thousands of agents are joining with us every year. Or you can simply, if you're ready to land the plane and join with an eXp Realty and you're looking for a sponsor that will be very proactive in your success, text me directly at 512-758-0206. Please do not call. I will not answer. I'm on Zooms and other calls all day. So just text me directly at 512-758-0206. Julie, do you have a wrap up today? I see you have a extra point, the $1 million agents reality.
Well, just to sum up yesterday's podcast and today's, own your outcomes. Remember, we talked about if it's meant to be, it's up to me. It's not your broker's fault. It's not your spouse's fault, the market's fault, the president's fault. None of that even matters. Okay. If it's meant to be, it's up to me, meaning you. Own your outcomes. Invest time before money. That's things like learning your scripts and presentations. That's investing your time. Master your tools, track your metrics, know about your magic number, know about your spokes in the wheel, and stay consistent about that and be coachable. Don't get stuck in your own way. If there's something that you picked up over the past two podcasts, it should be that you might be making this too complicated. You might need to just focus on the things that matter the most and let the rest of it go. And we're going to show you something tomorrow on tomorrow's podcast that will help you with that. So I'm looking forward to that with you too.
Julie, I literally cannot stop thinking about Sora 2. I mean, I am
I know.
obsessed because it's so incredible.
It's
I'm,
very cool.
I'm thinking
Yes, I
about
know.
Bob, right? I'm thinking about Bob who thinks the world's gotten by him because he's
Hmm.
not, a 20 something and he's not able to create all this. So he doesn't want to dance around while, what
Sure.
all the silliness, right? That has
Hmm.
really become normal in real estate. He doesn't want to do any of it. But
Yep.
Sora 2 is going to be able to do all of it for him. I'm not suggesting Bob doesn't, he shouldn't use his virtual version of himself to start doing dancing videos. But if he wanted to, he could. But you could do a
Good.
virtual tour
Sure.
of the White House using Sora 2. I mean, you could. Sora 2
All you
knows,
have to do is think up what you want to do and it can create it. That's very
and you
exciting.
don't have to be a prompt, wizard. You can
Wizard.
just say create a video. Like I saw somebody on YouTube that was talking about, I know I'll stop myself, Julie, I know what you're thinking, but
Save
it
it for
was,
tomorrow.
I know exactly. It was somebody basically went to Sora 2 and they said, make a video. I don't remember the exact words, but it's just talking to their phone. Make a video about raindrops down bouncing off the hood of a Ferrari with a rainbow coming up in the background and a couple, getting proposed, getting engaged, ring going, the
Mhm.
whole thing. And it created something that was perfect. Not like the AI stuff that we're seeing where there's, missing digits on fingers and things don't
Weird
quite,
stuff.
you cannot tell. And I'm promising you, you cannot tell and you will not be able to tell. And so if you think the world's gotten by you, you're too old, you're just not pretty enough for social media and all these other types of things that people say, guess what? Your procrastination for the first time in your life
Yeah,
is really, is
that's what I
not.
was thinking. This is one of the weird and unusual times where you waiting and sitting on learning some stuff is actually paying off. Don't count on that continuing. But in this case, that's pretty awesome
Well, us
because
too.
it's not going to cost you anything. And you don't have to get a YouTube coach and you don't have to get a bunch of equipment. You just have to use your brain and think up some really cool stuff. So we'll talk about more of that tomorrow.
Well, us too, because we were a year ago, 2 years ago, we
Sure.
were thinking about creating AI to go and do the pre-listing pack and the listing
Hmm.
presentations for our coaching clients. And you and I said, there's no way we're going to have. It's changing so fast. By the time we hire somebody, we pay them a crap ton of money. By the time they actually give us an output, their work product
Going to
is going
change
to
anyway.
it'll
Yeah.
be absolutely obsolete. And so I'm
Hmm.
glad we waited. So procrastinations work to our benefit as well.
True.
All right.
Confessions.
You guys, thank you. If you're on iTunes, please do give us a 5-star review, 5-star rating, and give us a little pithy review why you love the podcast. Guys, thank you from the bottom of both of our hearts for allowing us to be of service to you. We are, the highest and truest purpose of all this on this planet is to be of service to other people. We've chosen professionally to be of service to all of you. You're choosing to be a profession of service to your buyers and your sellers. So thank you for allowing Julie and I to be alignment with our souls. Thank you for allowing us to help you to do the same on your mission, which is being of service to other people as well. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow for the big Sora 2 Meets Real Estate podcast.
Yep.
Thank you. Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. And don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video. And remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.